Let's bring in David Hawkings. He is editor of CQ Roll Call Daily Briefing. Thank you for joining us.
Nice to be with you, Heather.
So, shutting down the White House to public tours and students like these sixth graders from Iowa. Listen.
The White House is our house. Please let us visit.
They planned this tour. They were all excited. They were going to be able to go and see the White House. Now they can't. So is this a public relations ploy on behalf of the White House?
Well, that's certainly what the Republican critics are saying. They're saying surely the $2 million that this will save could have been found somewhere else in the Secret Service's budget. Secret Service has $84 million to save between now and the end of the year. This would save $2 million of that. There are plenty of Republicans who say surely he could save that money by not taking a flight to the middle of some key battleground state to give a speech on a policy, or maybe taking failing Secret Service agents out to play golf. But clearly this is this is politics at work. This is the president saying, I've got to do something visual that shows the country that it's going to hurt somewhat.
Yeah, and you were talking about, the claims by the administration that the decision came from the Secret Service. The savings will add up to an estimated $74,000 a week. But yet, we just handed Egypt $250 million in aid, a tenth of which would cover about 25 years of White House tours. So, does that add up to you at all? And what other areas, you mentioned some of them, can we actually have some significant savings?
Well, that's the challenge of sequestration, and this was why back when this was proposed by the president and accepted by Congress 2 years ago, it was supposed to be a poison pill that was going to be so unsavory to swallow that they never would swallow it, which is that these cuts have to be across the board. Every agency has to be cut by the same amount. So it is not as though they could take a little bit of money out of aid to Egypt and give that back to the Secret Service. The Secret Service has to cut its 6%, and foreign aid has to be cut 6%, and pretty much every military account has to be cut 8%. So this is why Congress and the president, both sides say a better alternative would be to come together and settle on a deal that would pick different winners and losers rather than just cut everybody across the board.
Yeah, and that takes us back to those polling numbers we talked about.
Right.
White House officials, they've said over the coming weeks that the president will continue taking his message on the road. You mentioned it. Greg and I were talking about, the cost of flying to these battleground states on Air Force One, highlighting, he says, President Obama, the people in places hurt by the sequester. But the president's approval rating is down 8 points from December. Is that a trend that you think will continue as a result of this?
It certainly is something that looks like it's going to continue. It looks like it's going to continue for both the president and both the Republicans and the Democrats in Congress. The Republicans, their rating is down from 23 to 20 approval rating, and the Democrats from 37 to 32. So they've both lost. They were both farther in the tank to begin with and have both seen theirs slip as well. This is just another case of, sort of Washington dysfunction. The public is angry at Washington dysfunction. They're eager to find somebody who's willing to say, let's come to a deal. This is why the president, I think, went on what we've all called the charm offensive this past week, had dinner with a dozen Republican senators. The next day had Paul Ryan over for lunch. The president is going to try and position himself as the guy who gets the team together.
Yeah, allegedly the dinner with the Republicans on his own dime. The message coming from the White House being that the president has made concessions, including spending cuts, and is perhaps really sincerely interested in a grand bargain with Republicans on entitlements. Do you think that's true, though? And, have those recent meetings with Republicans truly been in good faith?
Oh, sure. I'd take the president. I mean, I'm not one to not take the president at his word. He had these guys over for dinner. He paid $85 a head for some nice food. And I think that every president wants a legacy. This is clearly a place that the president has invested a whole lot of his time and attention during the last 2 years. I think he would absolutely like this to be a part of his legacy. Some of the Republicans in that room, some of those Senate Republicans, came out sort of genuinely surprised at some of the things the president was willing to offer. They haven't trusted him very much. They haven't trusted the White House very much. The president, by bipartisan consensus, has not done a very good job in the past couple of years reaching out to Congress. Some of these senators said, I had no idea the president was willing to actually get on board with some of these entitlement cuts we've been talking about. So some of this, we think, was that these rank-and-file guys meeting without their leadership might actually help put things together. The Speaker himself has essentially said, the President and I talking didn't get it done. Maybe it's time to have him open up some new channels with other people.
Right, or maybe he's seen his tanking poll numbers. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
David
thank you.
Hawkings, thank you.